And normally it gets pretty brazen out in the open. Now we have all these people engaging in classical psychological warfare, raising the bar on Western civilization so high with 50 different genders and all the rest of it to sow total confusion. And I was watching video that Joe Biggs and others shot at the DNC live. There's hours of it. And we weren't just picking out certain people to make the Democrats look like kooks. A good third of them are what I would describe as people that came out of the Hale Bopp cult, the Jim Jones cult, the Charlie Manson cult, mental institutions, but they weren't born mentally ill. They are totally scramble-brained, filled with hate, and have been given this whole language of gibber. One of them is on screen. You're an effing white male, privilege, silence non-binary trans people. I mean, this is just Martian gibberish. And it's all these people just hopping around. They have no futures. There is no culture. They've been totally raised on scrambled Adult Swim, weaponized media to make you illogical and mentally ill. And they don't know what planet they're on. You know, I'm sad for Age Skrillex and Carl the Cuck that we shot footage of, and that's what they're known as, so I have to use those terms, because it has become one of the most famous memes probably in internet history. And we shot the footage. We did not come up with the meme, though we do supply much of the raw material for the memes. And, you know, you're hopping around screaming at people, you're an effing white male, when you're an effing white male, and you say you can't listen to an effing white male white privilege, spewing total mindless racism, and you're so arrogant and so unable to form an argument that people are going to ridicule that. But we had one of the supposed associates call up here to the office last night of the man known as Age Skrillex. His identity's known. I'm not going to say his name. Saying, can we please fix it? But that it's the fault of the person they debated. He created the meme. No, he didn't. You said what you said. You said the illogical, bizarre, contradictory things. And you look like arrogant cartoon characters. So you've been turned into those. There's a new video out that I'm going to have posted at Infowars.com that is an animated piece with Age Skrillex and Carl the Cuck that is the best thing I've ever seen. I mean, when it comes to really showing what these people are like. We can't play it here because there's so much cussing, but it's their words. It's their words with voice actors that are just simply amazing. So I've got a headline for this. I'm going to tell you guys during the break, then I want to tweet it out. I want to post it to Infowars.com. It is adult, but it's just so intellectual, but also so funny at the same time. All the contradictory, illogical things that these people really say. But here's the deal. Carl the Cuck and Age Skrillex were just being mean and virtue signaling and wanting to bully and getting off on virtue signaling to the black people. There's steps down now of what I call the Muppet zombies. And I don't say this with pleasure. A good third of these people are whacked out of their minds, and not even on drugs. I've seen mind control victims. I've seen the film footage of our airmen shot down and held for years in North Korea in the Korean War, and prisoners of war in Vietnam. And I'm telling you, folks, that's what high schools and colleges and all this have done to people. They take young kids and they tell them, you've been hurt, you've been bullied. Even when they haven't been, they teach them to be victims, and they teach them their identity is being a whack job. Then they scramble all the terms. This is how you keep people from having families and having kids. This is weaponized systems. This is not liberal. This isn't, oh, they screwed up, they tried, they wanted to help. We have Department of Education manuals that have been reprinted in the book Deliberate Dumbing Down that I think we still sell at InfoWarsStore.com, where they said 30 years ago this would finally be their plan. But after the zombie phase, I'll tell you what comes next. I'll tell you about after the zombie phase. There's a new man. Here's what's happening. They want to censor the internet, Google and all the rest of them. They want to shut down searches on Hillary and her criminal activities. They want to just say Donald Trump doesn't exist, just erasing from the presidential candidate pages. All you're doing is showing people what hardcore despots you are. And then your victims are these scramble-brained bullies that are just running around trying to intimidate everyone, but the intellectuals are using your own idiocy right back at you. And I've got to say, Joe Biggs and the rest of the crew that are on the ground in Philadelphia, I'm going to get Biggs on today, have been getting footage where I'm sitting up at night for like 2-3 hours trying to watch all this. I can't turn away because it's so horrifying. And I keep hoping maybe there'll be some people that aren't zombies. And there's like Baron Harkonnen, Jabba the Hutt creatures. I mean, the creepiest people you've ever seen on the outside. And then on the inside, they're even creepier. And you've got to understand, this is who the globalists have mobilized to bring down this country. And they've done an incredible job. I can tell you, they will not rest until every one of us is a brain-damaged fluoride head. They will not rest until it's the law. You got to give your kids high fructose corn syrup formula, so they got a brain a third the size it should be, or a third smaller than it should be to be technical. And it's just horrific. I mean, if this isn't satanic, if this isn't some devil, then it is the devil because we've created it. You understand? The devil exists. Kim Jong-un. Devil exists. And notice how weak the devil is. A little toddling wimp who executes family members with mortars and just runs around with all these sycophantic people worshiping him, and his whole population is almost at starvation level. And then he is so disconnected from reality, he thinks Dennis Rodman's cool. Dennis Rodman wasn't cool 15 years ago. Super boring. Super stupid. It's just so, evil is so Twilight Zone. Evil has to import cars to North Korea and Cuba. They can't even build cars because the state doesn't want you to. It wants to rub out innovation and humanity. It's a post-industrial Jacobin, Luciferian society. And I've had so many historians on, and I say, are the roots in communism the Jacobins of the French Revolution? And they go, yes, but it goes back before that to the legalists of China and to Plato. And if you haven't read the legalists and if you haven't read Plato, you don't know what you're dealing with. Just because you don't go out and get any sun and you've got zits all over your face, you can scream you're an effing white male, Donald Trump wants war, when Donald Trump's been anti-war. Or you say that he hates gay people when the guy was an advocate for equal rights before it was cool 30 years ago. And whether you support that or not, the point is everything they say about Donald Trump is twisted or inverted. And that's what this comes down to. They want you to feel bad about yourself. They want you to be poisoned and ugly because they're poisoned and ugly. And guess what? We're not going to do that. And here's the thing about the human mind and psyche. If you're not aware of an attack, it will defeat you. But studies show if you're aware of an attack and resist it, it makes you stronger. I don't care if it's poison. It doesn't matter what it is. When you're aware of it and if the dose is... See, the globalists want to dose us with poison and cultural poison and literal poison and GMO and electromagnetic radiation slowly while they try to mitigate it and figure out ways to shield themselves. They're basically doing a mass test. But if we're aware of the attacks, just mentally, and drink purified water and take nutraceuticals and get sun and pray to God. Every study, there's thousands of them. I mean, even atheists admit that prayer brings you to a higher level of brain activity and the whole body. When you go into that space and connect with God, the higher power, that it opens you up and is absolutely associated more than anything with defeating all sorts of diseases, you name it. That's why so many times a person's wife or husband will die and they're totally healthy and they're dead a month later because they give up the will to live. Well, we have to have the will to live. And the entire globalist program is about taking our will to live away. Telling us we're bad, telling us we're evil, telling us that we're a fallen, twisted, bad group, and only they can raise us up. No, God can raise us up, not the New World Order that seeks to bring us even lower. Two mysterious lights streak across the sky side by side, seen in California, Utah, Nevada. Chinese rocket test? Probably. Remember they fired a missile right off the California coast a few years ago and let us know. Anti-satellite weapon? They're calling it conspiracy theories when people question Irgun and the martial law. I have mainstream articles calling it a conspiracy theory if you discuss the coup and the counter coup and how they're arresting tens of thousands of people and killing them and torturing them. And the media just doesn't want that discussed, so they call it a conspiracy theory. Oh, that's right. Again, this is just the total assault on reality. And again, you can go back to the New York Daily News, you go back to it's admitted that they stole the election from Bernie Sanders, they stole California, they stole New Hampshire and 8 other states. Sanders was destroying her, and they wouldn't let the delegates that came that actually represented the precincts come, and they said, well, super delegates will decide. And now in Turkey, Reuters says, the public's questioning the government and doesn't like martial law, and so you know what they are? They're conspiracy theorists. They're protesting in the street. Conspiracy theories flourish after Turkey's failed coup. See, now just demonstrating is a conspiracy theory. I remember one time I was going through the TSA and they wanted to naked body scan me, and I said, look, I know you guys saved that, and I know that it doesn't protect anybody, and I know it puts off radiation, and they lied. And the guy goes, oh, another conspiracy theorist. No, what I was saying was facts. Coming up, this is on DrudgeReport.com. It's an Infowars.com, Paul Joseph Watson's story. Bernie delegate, DNC, is replacing Sanders supporters with paid seat fillers to create fake unity. Well, that's exactly what the Republicans said they were going to do. But see, Trump didn't go along. He said, you're stealing it. And the media said, he's discredited now. He'll lose because he made it up. But we are going to take the votes and not count them. But still, he's a sore loser. But Trump was winning. So Trump didn't sit down and didn't shut up and then let them put the wooden man meets Count Chocula, up there, Ted Cruz. He fought. He spoke out against the fraud. He won. And mark my words, he's going to win in a landslide. And mark my words, Hillary is probably going to steal it in front of God and everybody else at high noon. They're going to be projecting her as the winner by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They don't even care about the ratings. This is about taking this country down and mounting our head on the wall as a trophy. Bernie delegate, DNC is replacing. And then we've got another clip. Bernie supporter confronts seat filler. They're throwing the Bernie delegates out because, remember, they've been booing almost unanimously, like 80% of people. So they're having to kick them out. They're withdrawing their credentials because they're supposed to be there under law, under free and fair election laws. The ceremonial Republicans supposedly manage it, but you don't get to just say, well, then we don't count votes anymore. That is the crazy arrogance of these people. And you saw it in both parties because it's the same political class that's been pampered, that have infested this government and infested our nation and infested the rest of the world, that are firing people like General Flynn that are trying to stop World War III with the Russians, and who wouldn't back ISIS and Al-Qaeda, so he just removed him 2 years ago. And General Flynn, who's one of the most successful commanders in the military, reorganized special forces, you name it, he came out and he said Hillary Clinton should be arrested for treason. That's the kind of stuff they'll blow his airplane up for. But he said it. So you've got people 1 inch away from a military counter